radar app to keep an eye on whatever's coming at me here.
Yes, indeed.
So for the listeners and viewers, we're recording this on August 6th. I know this won't go live until next week, but there are all kinds of interesting weather coming my way right now. So keeping an eye on that. Anyways, welcome back to Transcending Humanity. I'm Vanessa, aka Vanessa. As a reminder, the views and opinions of everyone on here are their own, so don't yell at their bosses or whatever. Patreon, send us money. Thank you to our patrons. Remember the store. Go to the merch shop and buy shit and just send me money. Anyways, without further ado, since there is a storm bearing down, I want to at least get some of this episode recorded before the power goes off. I am honored to have Klaus von Hohenloe. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yep, Klaus von Hohenloe. That is me. Thank you so much, and the honor is mine. I'm flattered that you wanted to talk to me.
It's fun, to give some context as to why Klaus is here. I, as many people know, am a photographer by trade, and when I edit photos, I usually have YouTube on in the background. And one of Klaus's many jobs, he does narration for a channel called Mainly Facts. And so I like to have it on the background. It's essentially just reading stories off of Reddit. And there's a number of similar channels, but
there's a
I like
few.
his the best. Yeah, there's quite a few. I like his the best, though, because he actually has some personality behind it rather than just reading shit out. So, and I learned some things about him, as he talked, he's had about 50 million jobs, and he's a professional voice actor and YouTuber and Dungeons and Dragons nerd. And so, Klaus, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us about you.
Yeah. So, I think you put it wonderfully. Yeah. My day job consists of, flitting between, voicing a number of different YouTube channels. Some people think that they have them all down. They don't. There's so many more out there that probably have gained no traction whatsoever. Between that and then doing voiceover, anyone who's tried to learn English with Duolingo stories has probably heard my voice as Oscar. People have maybe heard my voice in a number of little mobile games, some local ads, and then I don't know if your workplace has some really boring instructional video on how to use a baler, then maybe you've heard my voice there as well.
So you're pretty busy in voice acting.
I try to, there are ups and downs. There's the busy times where suddenly, I'm recording hours a day, every day for a couple weeks. And there are the times where the only recording I'm doing are just auditions. And that's the nature of the business, especially if you're a freelancer living in Minnesota instead of someone making the more profitable potentially decision of living out in LA or something where you can get, studio gigs and all that.
So,
yes.
Yeah. How did you get into voice acting?
So I'd always wanted to do some form of acting or entertainment. I did stand up locally in Minnesota in my 20s. I've done a lot of theater, but I always wanted to do voice acting because I have always loved cartoons from the moment I was a little kid to literally last night. I was watching cartoons. Gravity Falls, one of the best shows out there. And I just wanted to get into that. And so I guess it'd be around about 10 years ago, I started just doing freelance voice work, primarily getting into audiobooks. And you can still find a bunch of audiobooks on Audible with my name, primarily male erotica, but there's some male-female erotica. And no joke, so here's a fun fact for anyone wanting to get into voice work. When you start doing independent audiobooks, is there are some folks out there just trying to shovel stuff out as quick as they can. And I had one client who had me do a few books, and then they sent me a script, for a book, just a short one, hour-long read. But I looked at it and I went, oh, this is all written first-person perspective from a female viewer. And it's like, and I certainly as an audiobook, reader, you have to voice, all across the spectrum, everyone, you have to give every character a voice, but to have something that's like first-person narration from a female view, I'm like, that's an odd choice with my voice and what I typically deliver for these books, but okay. But I don't know if it's still up on Audible or not, but they were just like, no, yeah, do it.
I guess maybe, trans women,
I tried to give it my best. I think that was one of the last audiobooks I think I did. Audiobooks are a lot of work, and so I don't do them much anymore because you hear $50 per finished hour of a book and you're like, oh, $50 an hour? $50 finished hour. And a finished hour of a book, depending on just how much effort you're willing to put in, could take 2 to 4 hours to do. So suddenly, it's not the best. There are better jobs out there, but good luck. It's competitive.
Then your voice also starts going.
Oh, yes.
Vocal training is something that I've only kind of recently gotten into, being trans, and I've had, you see my scar here, I've had vocal cord surgery and my Adam's apple removed. But the surgery is just part of it. It raises your pitch a little bit. Like, if I can go down, this is like as deep as my voice usually can go now.
Mm-hmm.
And before operation, it was more like this. So I had a pretty deep voice, and I can't do that anymore. But like, a lot of people don't realize what all goes into creating a voice and how you have to talk from different parts of your mouth. The traditional male way of talking is from your throat, like here.
Yep.
But female, it's a little bit more nasally. You're talking from the front of your mouth. And shit, you have to think about it constantly. So do you do like vocal modifications and stuff too for like different voices, or?
I will try for different characters. I try not to get... I'll ask the author or whatever client I'm working with. It's like, how much do you want? Because there are, especially if you get into audiobooks, there are some authors who are like, no, I want kind of just a standard read in your voice, and you can like do slight shifts for different characters, but don't try and give them, like extreme voices. And then there are other ones who tell you, I imagine this character sounding like Willem Dafoe. Can you kind of make him sound like Willem Dafoe? And that's a true story. And to get into that character, every day that I had to record for that book, when I'd come up to his parts, I'd pause and be like, okay, Willem Dafoe voice. Spider-Man, finish it. And I'd have to
That's pretty solid.
I'd have to pick little like anchor phrases for certain voices that'd get me back into it. But yeah, I did. I remember actually watching a video for someone explaining like male and female range and stuff. And they're like, a lot of guys, if they want to do a girl voice, oh, they're just like this. Oh my. And it's like, well, there's more to it. It's like, you can't project the same way that you would as a man necessarily. Like, I mean, you can. People have voices all across the spectrum and sound, every which way. But typically, if you're wanting to give a character kind of authentic voice, yeah, you have to be like, okay, so I want a female voice, and maybe I'll kind of bring it more up here. And okay, yeah, this is what I try to go for like a female voice. And then, I made a mistake once in an audiobook. I was doing a series, and each book of the series focused on a different member of an all-male rock band, where every one of them discovered that they were gay throughout the course of the book, because that's what happens in erotica. And yeah, it is actually a very fun series. I loved the author dearly, who sadly has passed away. But if anyone wants to read some great male erotica written from a female's perspective, Sandrine Gast-Dion, lovely person, fun writer. But I got the first book and I was like, okay, I need voices for each of the bandmates. and I try to make them all sound very distinct, not realizing at that point. What's hilarious is I hear my dog barking. But there's no way that my dog heard through the headphones.
Dogs can hear really well.
It could be. Anyway, so for one of the characters, I'm like, okay, each of them needs to have a different voice. So I've like, one is a little bit higher, one is a little bit punk. And then I had one, and I gave him a voice like this or something. And that's really fun to do for a character who pops up here and there. But when the book is first-person narration, and then suddenly I realized, oh, I'm going to have to do a whole book as that, I had to record in half-hour segments and drink so much tea because it ruined me. So that's a tip for anyone doing voice acting and training is give yourselves reasonable voices to do, unless you know that it's going to be, much briefer. Like when I've done some video games and I've voiced like, a minotaur or something where I'm like, all right, let's all get, yeah, sure. I can do that voice for 10 minutes of recording and then take the rest of the day off. Sure.
It's amazing how tired your voice gets. Like, I'm only finally now able to, like, I'm still like performative. If I'm out in public trying to talk to a client or something like that, I can't keep my femme voice up for some reason because you have to think about it constantly. And like, so right now I'm actually thinking about it and going as full femme as I can. And it's just weird, just how much thought goes into it and how tiring it gets. Like the back of your tongue starts getting tired, like, cause you're working muscles that are like, why am I being worked? This isn't supposed to be happening. I'm supposed to be just being happy. So
yeah, talking, you feel like it should be the easiest thing in the world, but the moment you try and alter your voice to something it's not used to, it is like every muscle in your cheek and throat and tongue tries to fight against it at first, but
exactly
over time it just becomes more natural, because even for a lot of us, just the natural voice we might speak in, there's so many people I saw a video about someone talking about like actually getting to your natural voice and how a lot of people don't speak in a natural voice.
Yeah.
All sorts of people put on affectations. I tend to, in conversation, just talking with people, speak in a little bit higher register sometimes. I've got kind of the gravelly undertone here and there, but I tend to go more up here. But if I just try and be like, completely relax everything, not stressing something, and I just go, really, my normal speaking voice should probably be somewhere more in this without adding in that little bit of height to it. I should probably speak more around here all the time. But I don't, because I'm a weird, eclectic, cheerful, excitable person. And so I've constantly pushed my voice to reach up here more. And now it's just natural. So I can talk like this all the time forever, when in reality, I should probably be relaxing my voice more, speaking more down here. I have a more naturally baritone voice, but I will fight to be a tenor until the day I die.
I mean, you have to do what you also enjoy. So, like, and just talking in general for a long time just wears out your voice, and different times of the day too. Like, mornings and evenings can be different from the middle of the day. So do you like schedule your recordings to be kind of in a sweet spot during the day, or do you just do whatever?
I typically start recording at around 9 o'clock, and my main block is from like 9 to 11. But sometimes if I have a lot to do, I'll go beyond then. But 9 o'clock is great for me because that is after I've been awake for a while. I get up at 5:30 in the morning of my own accord because I just like it. I'm one of those weirdos. But it gives me enough time gives me enough time to fully hydrate, to just kind of work out some of the kinks, because everyone's got that, morning voice. You're coughing stuff up. You're half an octave lower than you should be.
Yeah.
It's like I give myself plenty of time to do that. And so, yeah. And I've had to cut back on some of the longer term recording because another fun thing you can discover is if you get into any kind of thing where you have to speak for long periods and you also have TMJ, that is miserable.
Oh, dear.
Because I was at a point doing like 4 straight hours of recording a day for a while. And not only would it just dry my voice out and get my voice hoarse to the point where come weekends, I was just drinking like honey and tea and barely talking. But it just something that for most of my life has been like, oh, occasionally my jaw gets a little bit sore and it clicks if I open too much and, you know, but yeah, but it's like, it's not that big of a deal. But oh boy, I got to a point I was recording so much and my jaw hurt and was so swollen that I had to like take week-long breaks just to recover. So it's a dangerous line of work.
Yeah. And like, I have jaw issues too. And part of my facial feminization surgery that I hope to get sometime is actually going to fix that. But like, it wears on you. And like, it's weird having your jaw physically get tired. It's like chewing on a whole bag full of Starburst all at once or something like that. You know, there's only so much that you can take before your mouth just wants to be like, no, fuck you, I am done. But 4 hours of recording at once.
Oh yeah, that that was when I was still doing some audiobooks and I was doing YouTube and I was making some good money at the time and I literally had to walk away from thousands of dollars a month because I'm like I can't. It's like I just physically can't keep doing this because I try and like maybe if I just bulk record for 3 days and have rest periods in between and stuff. And it's like, I was so miserable multiple days a week that I just had to stop. The TMJ basically escalated to a point where it was radiating up through my temples and giving me migraines. And so it's no fun having your days off or your evenings just spent in bed with a pillow over your face because light's bad, me no like.
Mm-hmm. And then the dog still went out. And if Mrs. Fax isn't home, you have to deal. Adulting's hard. Adulting's very hard.
I don't like it most of the time.
No, luckily you don't have kids because that makes adulting even more adulty. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I have one. I'm a horrible mom. I don't live with him anymore. That's a whole other story. But kids are hard. Kids are hard. Like, I think it's something that you like. I think you've mentioned actually, like in some of your asides, where if you don't want to have kids, you don't have to have kids. You shouldn't feel pressured about it. So
yeah. Absolutely. The world has enough people in it. And
too
it's
many.
Like the attention and gifts and stuff that I would give kids, I get to spread between my nephews, my niece, and a couple of dogs, and with so much less commitment.
The best thing about nephews and nieces is they go home at the end of the day. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So let's pivot to jobs. Like, this boy has, like, every single time I listen to you, you talk about another job from the past, like hotels and give me like a best of the craziest jobs that you've done in the past.
So let's see. Some of my favorites, working at a hotel when I was a teenager was wonderful. I started at the hotel in the maintenance department. And so a lot of my day was just wandering around, drinking free soda from the restaurant and like setting up functions and stuff like that, for weddings and parties and stuff like that. It's very chill. I like that a lot. Another job that I it was darn near the perfect job, except for two things. And that's when I was the delivery driver and delivery supervisor for a bakery in northern Minnesota, northeast Minnesota, served the whole area. And worked 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You get a break in the middle of the week. You get the weekend off.
That's handy.
Wonderful. Most of my night spent by myself. Like, put together some orders, load up the truck, bring them all around to the different towns and stuff like that. And the whole time, I'd just be listening to audiobooks. There was one summer where I think I listened to, I think it was 31 books over the course of a single summer. It was
Holy
magical. Shit. I was delighted. The only problem was, if you're a delivery driver for a bakery, you start at midnight and get done sometime between 8 and noon. So
I was going to say that's even earlier than your 5:30 wake up time.
Yeah, it was miserable. I had a get together with friends to play some tabletop role playing games every Friday after I got off work at some point, and I did some figuring out, and once a week while I had that job, I would stay up for anywhere from 36 to 42 hours straight without sleeping.
Oh, that's healthy.
Every single week. I'm pretty sure that job took off a few years of my life. But
hopefully
otherwise,
was
free bakery fresh bread to bring home whenever I wanted. Get the freshest donuts, like cake donuts, normally not interested. A cake donut that is still steaming because it's come out of the fryer is like magic. I miss that stuff so much. And I worked with some wonderful people, so that made it better too. The owner of the place was the actual devil, though. And
is that how it works?
Yeah, she not so great. So that job was a great one.
How can you be an asshole when you have a bakery? It's supposed to be a happy thing.
You would think so. She was one of the most bitter, conniving, scheming people. Like, she verged on like 80s movie villain in the kind of schemes she tried to get away with people. But she's dead now, so I don't care.
Fuck yeah.
She's dead, I'm alive. That means I won, right?
Mm-hmm. You did.
Boy, I'm trying to think. I mean, voice work is obviously going to be the one that I go to immediately, and recording for the YouTube channels. They're not, I don't own them, so I'm just kind of a contract worker for them. But it is fun to just get to It is fun to just get to be at home and record these stories, and at the same time, put in my comments and hopefully some positivity in the world. I try to insert that where I can.
You do. I mean, that's why you're here, because you have given us something that I am. So.
But
so I'm muting so, because working.
That's okay.
How did you land YouTube gigs like that?
That actually did stem from doing voice work. I was picking up a lot of just smaller commercial work and business work for VO stuff, and I saw this job posted not on my usual site. I don't remember where it was, but it was posted for like, do some voices for like a YouTube channel. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I've already done some YouTube stuff, and yeah, sure, it might be a steady paycheck. And I started doing it for one channel. I think the first one was a channel about space stuff. It's still
Space
probably going. That's kind of what drew me to it. It's like, I like space stuff. I like science. Sure. And so I started doing that. And then the person who got me doing that was like, hey, would you mind doing some other channels? And I've done little like shorts channels and channels for TikTok for them too, where it's just introducing clips for stuff. a bunch of things that just didn't pan out because they were ridiculous. But eventually they got to like mainly facts and mostly facts and stuff, reading these Reddit stories. And at the very beginning, it was just reading these little like prompts and lists of stuff or whatever without any input. But then they're like, hey, would you mind like giving some commentary on this stuff or whatever? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I started doing that and people seemed to like it. So it was a weird rabbit hole of stuff that I didn't expect to be doing for as long as I have. I 100% when I saw someone was looking for someone to record these short little YouTube videos at first, I'm like, this might pay for a few months, a little extra cash, not a lot of work. Did not think that it would be multiple years of just recording so much and such a wild variety of stuff. And now
there's a lot of content.
There's so many videos of mainly facts. There's me on the Evaluator, which is also funny to see. That's the other channel that's been doing well. It's near about 250,000, which not bad for YouTube. But it is funny to occasionally go into the comments and see people like, this person sounds a lot like that Reddit guy. And I'm like, I've occasionally I've occasionally snuck in on my personal accounts and people are like, I think this sounds, kind of similar to that mainly facts guy. And I'll just go in and reply like, I think you might be onto something. Or I'll hop in and be like, nah, I don't know. I think it's just an AI voice. Because funny enough, doing just the mainly facts videos, there have been channels that have made AI voices of me and just tried to pump out the same videos.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember the names of any of them, but I've seen people in the comments go like, hey, there's this channel, whatever, and I think they're using your voice. And at first when I hear that, I'm just like, they just probably stumbled upon another channel that I happen to do. But nope, I hop on in there and it's just like, story 1. And I am looking to go over here and do this today. And I'm like, what? That is me, but
Uncanny
that is
Valley
not
shit.
me.
That has to feel kind of violating. It
is such a weird combination of both violating and flattering, but I mostly land on violating. It's the kind of thing where I think people expect you to just, it's like, oh, you should be flattered, but you should like that people like your voice enough to steal it. And it's like, I guess, but mostly I'd rather they didn't.
I mean, it's such a new thing that I don't even know what the legality of that is. Like, I don't even know if that's something you can technically sue for. Can you sue for a voice?
I don't know. I think at least on YouTube, it can be like flagged and be like, hey, this is AI and it's using my voice and here's the proof. Listen to me. And so I think maybe at least one of those channels have been shut down. And I think a lot of people don't stick with them because it still doesn't sound quite the same. It sounds stilted. It sounds wrong. But
Uncanny Valley.
Yep. But I'm also no stranger to hearing my voice or a voice that sounds like me digitized. And, if I've happened to have done text-to-speech voices in the past, which I can neither confirm nor deny, perhaps due to contracts, they always sound wrong. They always sound so wrong. I don't like hearing my voice turned into an AI or a text-to-speech because it's like, it's so close to me, but it's not. And this is the worst Uncanny Valley I think I could have possibly imagined.
It's missing the cadence, maybe. I think it's the right word for it. Like the flow, your natural flow when you talk. And it's Uncanny Valley. It's unnatural.
Yeah. Well, I know tend to be expressive and weird and put in weird fluctuations that it does not do.
No. And that's part of it. I remember actually, I think you've done a little bit of like memeing on it, like where people kept on trying to say you're an AI voice. You're like, I promise I'm not an AI voice. And then you did the face reveal for a little bit, and
Yeah.
that had to blow people's minds. So, but that had to be weird though, to suddenly have the face, and then I notice it's no longer there. So,
yeah, it's I did laugh when people would say like, I don't know, I think this is an AI voice, and partially it's because text-to-speech versions of my voice may or may not have already existed at that point, and so people on TikTok might be like, wait, I think I've heard someone who sounds kind of like this before. But also, I can listen to some older videos that I've done, and there are some times where, again, recording 4 hours a day, there are some times where I'm just on autopilot reading those things, and
I don't
my
blame you.
brain's not even comprehending it. And I'll listen back and be like, I can see where they might think this was
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's only so much, he's reading back like stories off of Reddit and all kinds of things. Like, my brother slept with my dog's best friend, and all kinds of shit like that. But eventually, it kind of has to all run together. So
It does. There are times where I've gotten to the end, because there's a small team that works on Mainly Facts, and there are people who gather Reddit stories and put them into a Word document and everything, so that I've got just a nice clean script to work with, and my time isn't spent scrolling through all this stuff.
That's handy.
Which also, folks, that's why I'm not reading a lot of the comments and stuff. They don't put it in. Or people are like, there's an update to this story. Why didn't you include the update? And I'm like, I didn't know
because I have other shit to do. Yeah.
Like, I had no idea. I just read the thing I'm given. But there have been times where they've accidentally replicated a story, and I don't realize until I'm like finishing the story, and my brain goes, hey, this sounds familiar.
I've noticed that. A few times where like be like you have one story and then two stories in between, then back to the original story, and like, but yeah. So which came first, you doing voiceover for YouTube or your YouTube channel?
So, my YouTube channel. I've actually had a couple. One that is no longer really in existence, which I started out 13 years ago. I made a YouTube channel where I reviewed anime and eventually video games. And it was the real typical caustic critic stuff where I was hypercritical of things. And I got rid of it just because I look back on it, and anything anime was getting copyright strikes, so I quit doing it. And some of the video game things, I just looked at it and I went, this brings such a negativity to things. And also, I'm not happy with the quality. I'm not happy with just my general style there. And so eventually I took that stuff down. I just closed that channel because I'm like, I'm not happy with this. And I feel like I'm doing it because I have to. Then
I can't see you doing critical stuff. You're too upbeat.
Oh, I am naturally a person who likes to be hypercritical about stuff, but that is something that I have very much chilled on and worked on over the last decade of my life, where I'm like, why? People can enjoy stuff, and I'll still have my moments. I'll still be critical. Let me tell you, last night I tried for the very first time to watch the director's cut of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. I got about 25 minutes in before I turned that off because it was the most 15-year-old edgelord nonsense. I hate it. I hate it so much. I could rant about that movie for hours, and I've only seen 25 minutes of it.
I think I've heard of it, but I think what I heard of it was not to watch it.
Oh, yeah, don't. It's so bad. But yeah, no, I used to do really hypercritical stuff, and I stopped that. And now I was like, I was doing that because I thought it was stuff that would be popular and get views. And I just realized, I'm like, I think that's why I don't like what I'm doing here, because my heart's not in it. I'm not actually passionate about it. And so something like 3 years ago, very shortly before I started into doing the voices for YouTube with mainly facts and all that stuff, I started my own channel, The Dungeon Noobs Guide, which is a channel dedicated to tabletop role-playing games. Because I've been playing those for 25 years. I play dozens and dozens of games, and I kind of started it because I wanted to teach some friends how to play a game that I really like that they weren't familiar with. And I went online to try and find a resource for it, and there was nothing very good. No offense to the people who had resources for it, but they just hopped on a camera and just kind of went off the top of their head talking. And I'm like, that's fine. But I'm like, I want something.
People can't learn that way, though.
It's like, I want something with effort put in and with visuals, and that's been like organized and scripted to be an actual useful teaching tool. And so I started making that, and I do other stuff on the channel, but yeah, my main focus was just like, hey, I'm just going to bring positivity. You know, it's like, I want to teach people. I want to gush about games that I love and everything. And I'm so much happier doing that. And that's the biggest advice I can give anyone is, boy, oh boy, don't just try and get into something because you think it'll be popular and you might make money off of it. That is a road to madness. But
if your heart's not in it, you know, it shows when people have passion too. And when you're putting something out there that makes you happy and then you present it in a way that can make other people happy, you're just creating positivity in the world, which there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah. I only recently finally, like, I've been a gamer nerd for years. Like, I'm 43. So like I started out doing role playing on AOL in the mid 90s in Red Dragon Inn. And then I played a MUD called Dragon Realms for a while.
Oh, nice. I had friends who knew about that. I never got into that one myself, but yes, I know that name very well.
It was fun. And then, you know, life got in the way, and I'd always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. So now one of my partners, we made it through like 3/4 of a one shot, and then we got kicked out of the library because someone else needed to use the room. But then next week, I'm going to be doing one with my local queer in Canton group. And it's like, finally, in my 40s, I can finally do this. And it is so much fun. You know, it's
a wonderful hobby.
Creative outlet. And just, it lets you be social. It lets you laugh. And I wish I had gotten into it sooner. So
there's no wrong time to start.
No. Does your channel talk about like how to find groups and stuff like that?
Not really, though that is something that I should tackle because, I mean, there's so many ways to do it, you know, depending on which games you want to play. Because I personally don't really do D&D anymore. I've done D&D since 2nd edition 25 years ago as a teenager in a friend's basement, just like you're supposed to, I guess. But yeah, there's so many ways to connect with people. There's, you know, finding local groups, going to local game shops that have stuff running. There's an online one where you can pay to have a GM do it, but a lot of times they have free games running called Start Playing. It's a website.
Yeah, I have history with those fuckers.
Oh,
you want to hear a story?
I do, always.
Okay, so I applied at Start Playing to be an executive assistant, and their application system was kind of weird in that before you had the interview, they gave you the test and like a project. And it was like a 4-hour project. And so I nailed the project and I got the screening interview. They loved my project. They loved the screening interview. And then I had an interview with the CEO. And this was about 2 years ago. So I didn't pass nearly as well as I do now. And I think he was thinking, oh, awesome. Vanessa, that's a sexy girl name. I wonder if she's going to be a sexy girl. And then this Vanessa pops up on there, early transition, without any vocal training. So I'm sounding like this. And I didn't get that job.
I
The
will
interview.
Yeah, I will say
Yeah.
in the videos I've seen of the founder and owner, he's got a real tech bro vibe that
He was very tech bro.
yeah, I immediately was like, I don't love it, but also it's so hard to escape the tech bros online these days where
It is. They said I didn't fit their company's oath of growth mentality.
Oh my.
I'm like, bitch, I'm a trans woman. My life is all about growth. So,
Yep.
But I talked to other people that interviewed for the same role and had the same shit. So, but sorry, you brought up Start Playing. I had to do that aside story. But that is a good avenue for people to find games to play like that.
It can be. I also always recommend folks check out, like, just find people online and start making groups there on like YouTube, but especially TikTok. TikTok has been like, you know, I don't love TikTok as an app. It frustrates me. I think it's got a lot of negatives to it, but you can really
we are too old for it.
Yeah. It's tough. I can't do it. I've tried to post on it and I'm just so bad at it. I occasionally post hi eating a cup of, guacamole or something because that's me. But I've met a number of people through that in the community that there's I am somewhat credited with pronouncing the acronym for tabletop role-playing games, TTRPG. I have for many years pronounced it Titterpig because it's easier.
Love that.
It's so much easier than being like TTRPG. It's like, no, that's it's so many plosives to have to just spit at somebody. And
it's like LGBTQIA, Liberagidiquas, something I heard for that. But.
Yeah. And so my partner, she does not play tabletop games. And so, but she's interested in it. She wants to hear what I have to say. She's so supportive. And she'd want to talk to me about it. And she'd be like, at first she was like, oh, are you playing your TTRPG? And so one day I was just like, just call it Titterpig. And she started laughing and she's like, is that how people pronounce it? And I'm like, that's how I pronounce it. And
we need to get that to spread. Plus it has the word tits in it. And
exactly.
I do love me some tits. So
who doesn't?
I know. They're the best thing ever.
But
imagine if you grow your own shit.
But now I know there's a Discord group out there called Titterpig Academy. And extremely LGBTQ plus friendly. The person Penny who runs it, she's a trans woman. She's wonderful. Met her because of TikTok, and her whole channel is full of people like, hey, who wants to play this new game? And they've got old school games where you can play games like D&D, or new games where you want to play Deathmatch Island, where you're, basically playing the Hunger Games and stuff like that. It's like, so there are a lot of resources out there, but it's such a social game that it does require breaching those social circles and being able to take those steps to interact with them, which I am terrible at. But
really,
I'm so socially anxious about stuff.
I would not have thought that about you.
Nobody does. Back when I used to do stand-up, I'd get done with my set and I'd, go over to get a drink from the bar, and people would want to come up to me and chat. And all I could think is, why are you doing this? Why are you talking to me? I only talk on the stage. I'm done now. Please don't. And I'm fairly good at it now. I've just, through what I do, I've had to become good at talking with people, but it's not natural for me. And especially online, I've been invited to so many Discord channels, and I always have to tell folks these days, I'm just like, I will gladly join your channel, and if you at me in the channel and mention me, I'll try to get in there and respond. I won't be active. I'm so bad.
Otherwise, I'm muting that shit. Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. I mute all of my channels. Yep. So
I'm not,
because it's exhausting.
I made my own channel for the Dungeon Noobs Guide, and it's quiet now because I wouldn't interact in it, because even people who were there to talk to me, I was just like, I don't know. No, I'm not gonna. So
It uses way too many spoons.
it does. I have such limited spoons, little teaspoons. And so I'm not great at that stuff, but even just taking some little steps and interacting more, I'd say definitely TikTok is one of the better places to actually connect with people and start playing those games, weirdly enough. But,
That
also
blows my mind.
takes trying to train the algorithm to show you what you want to see for Lord knows how long before it's slightly less of a hellscape. So good luck with that.
You mentioned something about like being introverted and a comedian, and I actually think that's fairly common. I was listening to Jon Stewart's podcast a couple days ago, and someone wrote into him asking, they're like, I'm an introvert, but I want to do comedy. Can these two mix? He's like, absolutely. He's like, I'm an introvert. Almost everybody I know in comedy is an introvert. You go up there, you get on stage, you do your bit, and then you are fucking done, So
Yep.
Don't feel like you're alone there.
Yeah, I think it, and even, other comedians that I knew, not the most socially out there people. Like, we usually after the show, we mostly just stuck with each other and talked with each other because that's who we knew. We didn't want to talk to the people who saw our shows, really. But I think it's not bad for introverts to be able to go on stage and do like comedy or theater, because it's controlled and you know exactly what the interaction is. And also you don't have to like answer questions. There's not as much unexpected stuff aside from dealing with rowdy audience members, which I've seen go very well and very poorly. So
yeah, that's why I don't know if I could do, like, I've always kind of wanted to do stand up, but I don't know how I would be with hecklers. So
and especially early on, because anyone who starts stand up, you're probably starting in open mics, stand-ups, and bars, which is the roughest of crowds. And or you're doing it on like the open mics at comedy clubs, which they're going to be less drunk, but they're going to be more demanding. And it's getting a heckler is rough. Usually, I think everyone kind of develops their own way of dealing with it, but there are going to be some nights where I think anyone who wants to do comedy, get ready to have one night where a heckler ruins a show for you, and just try to go with the flow and ignore it. Doing comedy is basically embracing consistent failure for a long time and being okay with that. It's such an uncomfortable process. But boy, oh boy, if you really let it get to you, things can go bad. I saw one comedian that I was friends with. He was a little tipsy before he went on stage. And
ooh, that's dangerous.
It was an open mic in a bar. There weren't that many people, but there was this group of young women who were kind of heckling him, one woman in particular. And he was trying to razz her back, play along. And she kept, like, the way she was heckling him was making the rest of us comedians be like, oh, okay, gosh, maybe we should like get her out of here or something, because this isn't great. But our focus very quickly shifted when my friend on stage was clearly getting very frustrated with her, until one point he's just holding the mic staring at her and he goes, if you don't shut up, I'm going to throw my fucking shoe at you. And that's the moment where my other friend who was helping to run the open mic night looks at me and goes, should I? And I'm like, yeah, get him off the stage.
Yeah. Oh boy, no. You don't need to get violent with crowds, folks.
No, it's a bad idea.
You're not going to win.
Yeah, you need such a thick skin to get into comedy. And yeah, there were nights where I was getting done and just like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But every time you get a laugh, it's the best drug in the world. So
it has to be, unlike anything else. So Maybe one day I'll do it. I don't know. So we're getting there in time. I've been doing a quick little game of Cards Against Humanity to wrap up shows. Do you think Mrs. Fax would mind if you did a Cards Against Humanity with a hot chick like this?
Oh, I think she'd be just fine with it.
Okay. I'm going to dig one. So it's not your typical way of doing it. I just pick a card. We pick a card, and then we come up with something to be the white card. That's all it is. It's just kind of a fun way to wrap up a show. So, but I need to shuffle these shits, but that would require my autistic brain to actually be on top of things, and it's not. So, autistic, ADHD, PTSD, like I have all the things that just kind of send me off into whatever. So anyways, here are our cards. Tell me about where in the deck you would like me to pull yours.
Oh, let's go right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
This card here?
That's the one. I can feel it.
Okay. Then I'm going to take the one... Oops. Showing you the cards. Showing you my cards. I'm going to take this one for me. So hopefully it doesn't suck. Last week I had no idea what to do with mine. So, are you ready for yours?
I'm ready.
Okay. So it says, I'm going to read that backwards. Hey guys, I know this was I should probably hold it so you can read it. Come here. There we go. Hey guys, I know this was my idea, but I'm having serious doubts about blank.
Oh, hey guys, I know this was my idea, but I'm having serious doubts about... I'm having serious doubts about this picnic/orgy.
Ooh, that could be awkward yet kinky at the same time. I'm getting sausage party vibes. You ever see that shit?
I have.
It was delightfully awful. Okay, so mine, alternative medicine, is now embracing the curative powers of trans girl jizz.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because we still do come. And we squirt. So you could bottle that. Actually, I probably could bottle that shit and people would buy it.
You probably could. I'll have to say that. As far as holistic medicines go, trans girl jizz is one that I can definitely get behind.
Oh, I don't have a beard to stroke anymore, so you have to do it for me. So, yeah. Klaus, this was wonderful.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything that you want to throw out there for my tiny audience compared to your massive one?
My thoughts are, folks, as much as you are able to, and don't stress yourself over it, but as much as you're able to, put out positivity in the world and give people as much grace as you are mentally capable of giving them, because we have too little of both of those things in the world, I think. And you don't always. There are plenty of exceptions out there, but boy, if we could all just give each other a little more grace, a little more patience, and a little more positivity, I think it'd help the world a little bit. I mean, it can't get a lot worse, can it?
I hope not. I actually finally have hope for the future right now with I don't know where you fall politically, but I'm very left. And
I'm way over there as well. And also,
I figured as much.
You know, I have my problems with the Democratic Party. I think any good leftist should. But I am excited to hear that Minnesota's own walls.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that was big news. So
he's a pretty delightful guy too. You know, makes me proud to be a Minnesotan, just like Tim.
That's I can't wait. I can't wait to see what the next few months are going to bring. So
I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So Klaus, people can find you on Dungeon Noob's Guide on YouTube.
Yep.
Any place else you'd like them to stalk you, or is that the best?
I mean, you can find me on the broken down hellscape that is Twitter as Klaus von H. I post on there just a random thought, maybe about once a week, though I can hardly stomach to be on it anymore, so I
delete
wouldn't.
That shit.
Yeah.
Twitter's evil. You're talking to a trans girl, and yeah, Twitter's evil. But I love dead naming it because, you know, Elon is perfectly happy dead naming his daughter. So I'll dead name his fucking platform.
Yeah.
So, but all right, Klaus, thank you again. This was wonderful. And you're welcome back anytime if you ever have something you want to talk about.
Well, thank you so
much.
much.
We can pop you on.
I will definitely keep that in mind. This was delightful.
I'm glad you liked it. So, all right, everybody. Until next time, don't forget to send us money. Send him money too. So, you know, maybe he likes money. We all like money. So listen to his stuff. He's fun. Toodles.